Yes, and here we find ourselves flying over Erangel as the plane picks up all 64 players from the arena here in Berlin, Germany for the Phase 3 promos. Everyone going to be trying to shift things up. It's kind of an unknown here, Cameron, as we switch over from the desert to the tried and tested, the OG of Erangel. And it's a pretty fair plane path from what trajectory we're looking at.
Wow, that is actually...
Can't get more fair than that.
Basically, this is really good for a lot of teams, and including the teams that want to go military base. They today literally just talked about that on the desk. You can land there super quick and super easy right now. Currently, it's just Unity, though Northern Lights, though I think they're going their way as well. But ultimately, this is going to be a really nice, clean start, drop-wise, for the first Erangel.
Sure, I mean, pick up information, try to play it maybe a little bit more passively, see how other teams are doing it, and like the desk said, come back in the 5th and final game of Erangel today. And if you didn't have the performance that you were looking for, try to make some shifts there. Two teams headed towards Sosnovka Island. Reciprocity will not be going to either of their two normal loot locations from Phase 2 PEL, both of those being Military Base and Northern Georgia Pole, respectively. This plane path will be instead sending the rec pack over to Yasnaya as everyone is departed out of the cargo hold and now left to their strategy, to their gun skill, to their decision-making to lead them through a victory in game number 4.
I'm actually really surprised that no one is going Yasnaya, which allows Reciprocity to take it, but they recognize that. Maybe they kind of regret not doing that because...
You know, I don't know. It's not going to be too difficult of a rotation for them to at least make their way over to the west, but we already do have a very strong lobby presence inside of phase number 1, especially around that Gatka and Pachinki area. First shot's going to be coming out. That's going to be first blood with the pump. Give it. Well, certainly got it right there from Bjorn of GamerLegion. Looking for more, though. Jupezic doesn't seem to even have a weapon.
No, he's just hiding.
Oh, no, this is terrible. This is not what you wanted to have happen. This is going to be a team, no team tag, that is going back to the drawing board after this game, just like Tom and Sam and Toby talked about.
I'm just looking at where no team are. The other two members are in between GamerLegion and PG-18.
Yeah, it's just a kind of an odd landing for those members, not what you would have expected, especially given that this is the first game of Erangel that has been officially played between these teams, not just a scrim game.
It's because no tag generally goes school, and that got taken by Vitality. And even though, you know, you can call into question Vitality's abilities looking at the tail end of PEL, they're still a PEL team, and especially now that you've seen their performance the first 3 games today. Well, first 2 games. Third one was an anomaly, as we all know. That's certainly going to scare them off if they even considered trying to hot drop on school. So they tried to float somewhere else and already lost 2 players.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch PEL the first 2 weeks of it, you have seen the hurt that teams can suffer if they try to fight the members of Vitality in that school zone. Reciprocity finding themselves here in this promo tournament because of those first 2 weeks, essentially. Both of those teams losing a lot in PEL phase number 2 and now finding themselves fighting to try to survive here in the promos tournament. Scoreboard going to be up on the left-hand side of your screen. You can see the real-time standings as we at least progress through these games. Zoekt and Naam having a hell of a day so far to kick this off. And again, it's just a point chase. You want to try to rack up as many points as possible, whether they be from kills, whether they be from placement, or both, leading in to the first and second days.
3.5 minutes in, we are seeing the first rotations come out from a lot of the different teams. No one from military base has moved yet, though. Northern Lights still trying to clean up their loots. Vitality rotating out of school, already in the circle, just barely. And it gives them a good position to kind of piggyback off of Zoekt and Naam leaving Pachinki to go towards center.
Yeah, multiple teams actually going to be trying to go center. No one really dedicating themselves to an edge play just yet. But it will be teams that find themselves in late rotations that will be relegated to those types of positions.
The issue with this circle right now is that there are a lot of fields around Gatka, and that's essentially in the center of the circle.
Yeah.
So if you want, you can fight for the compound's dead center if you're early, like Desperados currently are. Other than that, we may see a similar game as we saw previously in one of the Miramar games, where it's basically just like a halo around the center on the hilltops, but already Zoekt and Naam, player going down, likely going to get finished off by O'Connell. It's, you know, not the best trade for no tag losing 2 players, but it's at least something.
No, it's unfortunate, and I saw what T-Bone was trying to do. I'm not sure if he intentionally did it, but he popped into the back seat, that death seat of the buggy, instead of popping out of the buggy to take the shots, and ultimately led to his demise. Over here, though, PG-18 holding on to Gatka. The yellows just off to the west. Going to be held by Beşiktaş. Simzi with the M24. Could be looking to spot out the head of Diaz here in a few minutes.
Yeah, there was this lobby has very east-focused loot spots. Beşiktaş loot for George, rotated down very, very quickly while they could, but AVANGAR rotating up from Mill to Power, gonna take a casualty from Ferrari Breach, who I don't know if they were lying in wait or not, or maybe just heard the vehicle and pounced on that opportunity. But nonetheless, AVANGAR, they haven't had the best of days so far, just barely able to even make it to this event, and still a bad start on Erangel.
Yeah, tough transition for them as well. They had to decide whether or not to wrap all the way to the north and then work their way west, or just go directly west. And unfortunately, the scout for that team was spotted and very easily taken out by two of the members of that Ferrari Breach squad. Tornado Energy on a rotation of their own. They're going to be crossing the likes of Vitality. A little bit too much distance and lines of sight to be blocked here for any effective shots to be landed, but possibly able to pick up the audible cues as 7 starts to make their way from east to west, also now landing at the base of Georgia Pool Mountain.
Could use this position to get information over Gatka Fields. It's so far north that there's no way that they are banking on it being center, but that actually lessens a lot of the threat of that mountain. The hardest part about that mountain is the fact that you can't control access from all angles. You can control the southwest or you can control the northeast. You can't do both. It's too big. But because it's not a priority position, they could utilize it for its informational purposes and bounce off of it easily without too big of a threat.
Starting to see some of our military island teams make the rotations. Unity going up the eastern bridge as Reciprocity rotates out of Yasnaya all the way near Cube to cross their own bridge from north to south. Radio Tower Hill going to be held down by one of the members of Beşiktaş Esports, who looks to try to at least pick up some information, maybe even some shots onto 7, who just continues on this rotations towards the west.
Yeah, we actually misread that rotation. I expected 7 to just stop, at least for a little bit to get information, but no, they are banking on the fact that no one else is going hard west, so they're going to try and get there first, but they passed Beşiktaş, as you call it out, who are in a wide split. That's the widest split I think we've seen anyone hold in this event so far. PEL Contenders is not known, at least in my eyes, for having like wide splits. They really enjoy their pack play, and so this could work out well, or it could be disastrous for Beşiktaş if they get crashed by a full squad of 4.
Time will be the truth teller for that storyline, Cameron, but it is certainly set up as we approach the 7-minute and 45-second mark of game number 4 of day 1. Northern Lights going to be trying to make that cross over the western bridge, being diligent to get those scouts out. Deep going to be pushing up to half of the bridge. Going to be making absolute sure nothing lies in wait near the lighthouse or around the surrounding areas. Nothing's going to be there with the benefit of the map, the benefit of our spectator point of view, but Riddle going to be landing themselves in a good position over here, a little bit northeast off center. Definitely, though, where you're going to see a lot of teams start to congregate.
I'm a little hesitant to call any position in this circle a good position, because a hard shift one direction or the other one, and you're left with nothing but fields to try and hold on to. This is actually not terribly unlike the previous game on Miramar. Not nearly as extreme, but the fields do have a lot of similarities with the open ground that we saw in that round.
Reciprocity trying to keep that consistency high here in game number 4, the first of the Erangel matches for this tournament. AVANGAR continues to suffer at least damage here as they are put under pressure by the likes of...
chased?
I mean, this is the same team. I don't think they were necessarily chased, but the rotation paths from that eastern side of Erangel certainly did line up for both of these teams. Hell, let's just say they were chased. The members of the Ferrari Breachers have AVANGAR in their sights, and they're not going to let them go anywhere, Cameron.
Listen, you want to camp these guys? You want to follow them? If you feel like you can read their rotation... Okay, so... I hate this trope, but I guess you can blame this on Cast the Curse of the circle hard shifting up towards Georgia Pool Mountain. And now everyone's going to rotate back up and above, and Reciprocity's rotation was actually very helpful for them. But Beşiktaş's split is working out for them as well. They can collapse easily onto the player who happens to be closest to center. This time it's going to be Ultra. They're actually going to be doing a split within that, collapse of the wider split, but everyone has to rotate up. A lot of people coming around the east and the west side, avoiding the Gatka field, but Desperado, 2 down, but Rafi trying to hold off against 7, as well as, I believe that's multiple other squads shooting at them.
Yeah,
no,
definitely.
I think it's just 7 trying to mess with them.
They are feeling some third-party pressure coming from Beşiktaş, but yes, 7 definitely crashing hard in onto the members of Reciprocity, able to find the knock and the flush onto Haxede. He goes down, and now Scoom on the roof. This is going to open up the opportunity for 7 to roll in on one of the hardest compounds to breach, but 7 has at least come up on top of it for now. A lot of shots coming out, damage to be applied, 26 HP. On behalf of Edelweiss, he'll have to do something big here, and calling in the support from his teammates is definitely the play, but they have one bleeding out. Francario in a very dire situation, but the breach is coming through. Shiv, Raffi going to be prepping whatever they can to try to hold this back.
On the bottom floor, it's all about timing. Smoke out to try and get Crab inside as well, but Raffi is holding the staircase. Edelweiss closing the door to get a better angle on the stairs, but he's, footsteps forward, trying to bait out a return of movement. Raffi, but he's not spotting. Raffi doesn't get it down, though. He has to retreat.
A lot of damage being applied on Edelweiss, but not enough to find the knock. And now the push ensues, trying to spray down into the most known locations on the second story of the garage. And now from the staircase leading to the third story, Edelweiss is going to be going down and out. Buster, he gets flushed as well. Shiv and Reciprocity are coming up huge on this breach. Cameron, I mentioned it. The garage building, one of the hardest buildings for teams to successfully breach. And now every member that has entered into the garage on top of Team 7 has been eliminated. Huge nade coming out right behind the burnt out Dacia. Will be finding the knockback onto Francario. And Scoom, Raffi, in tandem, pick up the first squad elimination of game number 4. Out goes 7 in 16th place.
So those 2 members of 7 pushed into the top floor to keep pressure off of the downed player on the outside so they could get the revive. However, because Raffi wasn't checked on the staircase, it completely threw them for a loop and spun it way out of control, and they go out first. It was a novel idea, but Reciprocity also just Shiv holding that angle with the double kill back-to-back worked very, very well, and no one is close enough to really third-party and take advantage of that either.
That's what I liked about Reciprocity's play. They played the off angles, but a battle rages on here on Georgia Pole Mountain. It's going to be Unity on the west versus Riddle Esports, currently holding on to the east. Possible impact player will be Tizerin, flanking around on the northern side of this Georgia Pole Hill. Shots continue to come out. Both teams have a bit of a buffer zone in between them to really work off of. Don't necessarily think they're in range of grenades just yet, although they are feeling that pressure coming off the western side.
Actually, shots from the south as well. There's a lot of people with sight lines. See, that's the problem with, that's like the small downside of having a high ground position. If you can see them, they can see you.
Especially this position. I mean, this isn't like the Radio Tower Hill down on Sosnovka Island. This is much more wide open. But again, the shots coming in are from such a long range that you got to be a pretty good marksman to be able to land those. Next shift going to be coming out. And we almost center up. It's going to be favored a little bit over towards the west, but Beşiktaş still in that 2-2 split, going to be holding strong in terms of positioning.
Look at Ferrari Breach on the east side. They are absolutely punishing AVANGAR. They have their sole focus. If they weren't chasing previously, like after the first kill, they're certainly chasing them now, holding them off, trying to gatekeep them getting inside, and this is going to be really rough for them to try and leave ruins. But Vitality, Kramer being picked up, had a really good first couple of games, still 4 alive if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure how Kramer went down. It was definitely via some type of vehicle mistake, though. Thankfully, they've got the cover to work off of before being capitalized on by any other teams. Making the rotation will be Jazza and Shadow. Exactly right. Some of the members, 2 to be exact, of this Ferrari Breach squad have held up in the compound. Washout and Edgecon is going to be trying to roll up the hillside to hold that position. This could be devastating for Vitality if they end up going through this crossfire.
Tornado Energy holding on to their own compound a little far to the south, but the fields are too dangerous to cross up. There's no reason for them right now. Actually, Compot climbing up on top of the roof.
This gives Tornado Energy a different perspective on this, a bit of a high ground advantage or a higher ground advantage than they would have normally had the player not been able to get to the roof. Shots coming out from Riddle up top, Georgia Pole Mountain just a few seconds ago. We're able to find the connections onto one of the members of Ferrari Breach. Washout has been rezzed as they now take aim at the members of Vitality that were trying to at least stake their claim to this compound.
I don't know where Vitality go right now. At least Ferrari Breach started taking shots at them, you know, with enough distance for Vitality to U-turn and get out of there. But there's still a lot of fields in this area. Not many people are up in the hospital area, you know, just west of Georgia Pole Mountain. But over here in Gatka, Vitality, they're actually going to try and steal here. Gatka's wide enough that it's reasonable to expect that, well, I say that. Where do those, oh, that was a nade right into the middle of a field.
O'Connell, I mean, just
How
huge
far?
play.
How far were they?
He got the vehicular explosion, rather, that blew up the car that took out 2 of the members of Vitality. Now just leaving Crema and Nasus Please that crashed into Gadka, where 3 of the members of PG-18 currently hold. They've got their 3rd player. That's going to be Naileup in the Overwatch position from the yellow. Shots come out. Yannick trying to find the Mini 14. Taps onto Crema. Not able to find it just yet, as Nemerith going to be looking around the window, trying to get a spot on the location inside of this yellow building. Just going to be a standstill for now, but Vitality in a very, very tough position to have to work their way out of.
Popping a little bit of a boost before he continues this fight.
Diaz is inside. He's holding angles.
Yeah, I mean, they have a huge advantage right now. They're slowly inching closer and closer, clearing out the side angles. They certainly saw in the kill feed that Vitality lost 2, and so they know that they have a huge advantage, and they want to capitalize now to get these 2 free points, as well as clear up their area so they can focus on, you know, more potential attackers later on. We got 10 seconds before this circle closes, and they're going to want to move. And actually, because of that, they're backing off. They're getting ready to get into their vehicles right now. They don't want to commit into this fight when they may have to move because they're not center.
Well, you know, my question also becomes, do the members of PG-18 know that it's Vitality inside of this compound? There's been no knocks in between these 2 teams, so they certainly could at least respect the idea that there could be a full squad in this position. As the next shift comes out up towards the northeast, that's Georgia Pole Mountain, going to be a massive, massive part of this zone, and Unity and Riddle are going to be feeling some pressure coming around the base of it as teams start to make that trek. Desperado is going to be one of those squads already in rotation, trying to enter into the western side of phase number 4, but it's not going to be easy as many teams are taking the same page out of their playbook. Shots going to be coming out here as Zoekt and Naam is spotted out. GamerLegion Hamster going to be quickly dropped out of that. Oh my gosh, that's going to be another pretty much gimme kill right there as Vex gets dropped down, and now GamerLegion giving almost the 2nd kill over to the likes of Zoekt and Naam, but return fire comes out. It's going to be Bjorn able to find a connection with the AKM on the Bascu.
So it may seem risky for GamerLegion to do this, but where else do they go? A nade's going to come out. This could get the 2nd page trying to crawl away. He's going to go up, or rather down, up in flames.
Up in flames and then down to the ground in the bleed out position, as Zoekt and Naam is able to at least hold on with 1 more member alive. They're not out of the game just yet, but with 15 remaining, and now a battle raging on the eastern side of Georgia Pole Mountain between the likes of Ferrari Breachers and Riddle Esports. Currently going in favor of Riddle as they find 1 connection, but they're looking for more. Have 1 player bleeding out. Hjort is able to rotate down the northern side of the hillside to get to Gazinsen to at least start to attempt the res, but you have to worry, when will Unity become a factor here on top of the mountain?
Unity, they're watching them, but they don't want to push too aggressively just because of the amount of little dips and bowls. You can easily overlook someone who could punish you by your overextension, so just wait for the fight to be over before you punish it yourself. Northern Lights coming into a compound held by Ivo, the last remaining players from Zoekt and Naam.
Not what he wanted to happen, but how can you avoid that here in phase number 4 when compounds are sparse and teams are hungry for not just kill points but also placement points? Working with 4 members, though, clearing through the first building. It's only a matter of time before they walk into the lines of sight of Ivo. The question becomes, though, with that barrel, can he find a knock in the flush? Just like Riddle Esports is doing up here on top of the hillside. They're able to find another one onto the members of Ferrari Breachers, but have lost 2 now for their own. PG-18 can be eliminated in 15th position to the hands of Vitality with a huge nade.
Okay,
given the previous setup, I don't know how that happened.
I don't know how that happened either,
yeah.
But we didn't see it, so we're just going to have to use our imagination. Zen goes out. Ivo gets found out by Northern Lights, and they have their own compound. Desperados will be pushing onto that, but it's still going to be a fight for Georgia Pole Mountain. Unity still not going aggressive on that side.
And this is what the desk kind of talked about. Unity has had a real struggle, not just here in the promo tournament over the first 4 games, but also during Phase 2 PEL, trying to find a playstyle that suits their strengths. And really still trying to do that right now as they haven't pushed into this aggressively. They had Riddle Esports essentially pinched in between 2 squads, and they could have capitalized, but now they share the hill once again.
Maybe a little too quick to share that hill, because they don't have all members watching this angle. They actually have members spread out basically the entirety of the top, and this late into the game especially could be very, very ambitious, very, very greedy for positioning. Those teammates may not be able to help each other.
So as far as the first game of Erangel is concerned, Zoekt and Naam will not be the champions of both maps here on day number 1. Crema able to find a nice frag onto O'Connell from No Tag Team. Following up now with grenades as he tries to make his way out of Gatka. In the face of this pressure, the nade will be going a little bit past Arrows, who has been an impact player for this No Tag Team squad. But with the 2 angles that Vitality is working off of, well, it's likely only a matter of time. But the third party comes in. Quickmath going to be spotting out Crema.
Yeah, Quickmath, they're going to have to move, though, because the circle did center up, avoiding basically everyone else on the ridge. Aros trying to get something for his team before he goes down, but doesn't hit a single shot onto Krema.
Not going to be able to find anything. That nade will be missing its mark a little bit to the right of Krema's current position as they continue to hold on here. Desperado's in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, likely approaching onto the western side of the building. Northern Lights are holding. Shots come out, able to find one connection onto Krema will be Eros, and now that he has a confirmed spot on his location, will be prepping the nade. Blast on, Unity from the hillside will be spotting out AVANGAR on the base. Asverin goes down and out.
So this is what I was worried about, is AVANGAR's push could really punish Unity's wide spread, but it looks like Unity are holding it very, very well. Blaston basically by himself holding off the northern push, but Nasus holding the angle against Eros, pulling out the bolt action to get the quick knock on the first.
See if he can find it, but now Riddle departing off the top of Georgia Pool Mountain down to the base will be suffering casualties to the team that they once shared the hillside with in Blaston. In huge fashion, will be coming up with 2 of those kills, his teammate with 1, and that combos into a Riddle Esports elimination in 12th position.
Blaston got, what did we say, like 5 points by himself? He already has 5 points this game with 5 kills, so already a good sort of pick-up pace from Unity. Eros back into them, out in the blue. Tornado Energy, not in a good spot themselves.
Tornado Energy getting lit up. No tag team
is that
out
a ridge?
In 11th place position. They've got a slight ridge. It's probably one of those slow, what is not steep, but you know, I don't know, Cameron. It's very, very hard ridge for them to hide behind. It's a very acute angle. Yes, exactly right. Tornado Energy will be suffering a grenade though coming out from Simsy. A huge Beşiktaş kill count coming up here as they pick up 3. Onto that squad. Unity's Rikrent able to at least spot out one more Quickmath member. Maya's going to be flushed down and out with the M24 headshot.
Quizzy actually pushed away from the compound that Northern Lights were holding up onto the hill to keep Desperados away. Got the little crossfire on them and a nice first opening knock on to Coldamenta.
3 other members of Desperados now start to at least roll in from the southwestern position. No cover for them to have, and they have been spotted. Quizzy with a nice spray, finding 1 headshot connection. 60 damage to be applied on top of Tauzera. Calvin Klein going to be trying to get some smokes out, trying to at least protect Coldamenta. They've got to keep all 4 alive if they have hopes and dreams of a big performance here in the first game of Erangel. But Quizzy continues to play a very huge impact from that hillside. Finds another one onto Calvin Klein and Coldamenta, both going down. Nades starting to fly, but the third party comes in as Reciprocity says, gimme, gimme, gimme.
Listen, I know that that teammate was bleeding out very, very quickly, but Cold, you need to wait for the smokes to bloom before you run, or else they're just a waste of resources, and you saw that he got punished for that. Hardly blocked any vision, and now it's just Tauzera by himself to try and fend off against what he now knows is multiple squads gunning for his point.
Trying to find a lucky frag grenade onto one of the members of Northern Lights that could be outside of the compound. Being smart, Deep is going to be on the hillside, but from the compound, Quizzy continues to be a massive factor here, able to find some connections, and now giving that information. I'm surprised we didn't just see Deep push over the hillside. You say, hey, 1 left, and I definitely just found connections. Quizzy prepping that nade. It's going to be flying past the tree, dangerously nearby to where Tauzera is, but it doesn't find the fatal damage, and will keep Desperados alive to at least see another few seconds of this game.
Deep actually played it very safe. You could argue that it was too safe,
yes,
but the reason why he didn't push over is because he didn't want to give Tauzera the 1v1. Quizzy lost line of sight, and if he went down, that would have, you know, that would have been an easy flush for Tauzera as well. But they're going to be able to push over as a duo to protect themselves from that happening. And they're going to finish off Desperados, going out in 9th place, getting a little bit of loot before they push in. They're still not in the circle themselves, and they have Reciprocity with an easy angle onto their push.
Yeah, I mean, Reciprocity had third-partied onto that. You see now what happened in that compound as Krema was able to find a few knocks, and then that nade comes out from Nasus. Big shout out to our production for showing us that craziness that happened off-screen. PG-18 eliminated earlier in the game. But as we continue on, washout from the Ferrari Breachers will be spotted from that flank position he held onto Quickmath. Out they go as they start to take third-party engagements from Unity atop Georgia Bull Hill.
Unity still with 4. Rikrent right with a nice off angle outside of the circle, but he wants the off angle to utilize it for now. Beşiktaş throwing their nades. Throw it onto the smoke. Come on. I don't know. Maybe they can't see it. But actually, they're not getting shot. Was that Krema shooting at them? There's a lot of action happening in the southeast corner.
Krema was trying to work his way up. He is resorting to trying to find some cover inside of the shack. Going to be a safe haven for now, but as soon as he leaves, he will be taking a hailstorm of bullets AVANGAR going to be spotted down the hillside. Reciprocity Shiv able to find the knock and the flush onto that before Unity was able to pick it up. But Inuctive continues to at least push in his direction as Team Vitality gets wiped out in 7th place position by a Beşiktaş grenade. Beşiktaş is on an absolute rampage here in this game. AVANGAR approaching Blaston's position.
They know he's there as well. They know AVANGAR have at least one player left. If they've been watching the kill feed close enough, they should know that it is only one, and he is spotted out. Inuctive gets a nice little headshot tap, but he's out in the open. He has no cover. The blue's coming in. He gets a knock. He gets a knock. So that's a little bit of damage on Unity, but that's not going to net AVANGAR much because that's going to be an easier revive. The best that could do is slow down Unity's rotation to help out another squad, but who's going to beat them for the peak of that mountain? No one. Like, Reciprocity aren't going to push up. They're going to hold their angle and try and get the points on the Northern Lights. So ultimately, it's perhaps removed a helmet off of Unity.
25-minute mark of the game, 5 teams remaining with just under a 3-player per team average, 14 alive as Unity starts to depart. The top of the hillside will be spotted out. Good shots coming out, finding some connections. However, Recreant with the M24 headshot will be able to find that Northern Lights squad. Finds a very, very far headshot, and will be dropping down one of those members. Rez behind the tree as they start to worry with Reciprocity. Raffy going to be spotted in a prone position. Finds another one.
Easy.
Keep putting them down. Another notch onto the buttstock of the M24 for Recreant of Unity, as they now have a bit of a window of opportunity to pick the Rez up onto Blaston.
So I was mistaken. Unity's position right now is actually not strong at all because they go over the peak of that mountain, and you see that they don't have a lot of cover. There's a couple of rocks they can play around. Orange Snow took a little bit of damage to get to his position, but they're still not inside the circle.
And it's phase number 7. We're going to see a phase 8 shift. Could it go south? Could it force the squad of Unity to have to rotate down the open face of that hill? And if so, it would spell disaster for their team. But Recreant continues to do this. He's not letting Northern Lights have any room to work with. This bolt action continues to just rain down hellfire on top of this squad. How can they avoid this? What can Deep do other than spend his utility to try to avoid one player with one bolt action sniper? It's pretty much a waste of utility as he tries to depart. He's going to likely be able to at least reach a tree before going out. But what have they lost in the process to Unity?
Ooh, Quizzy, the other remaining player of Northern Lights, gets the knock onto Tomil. Can't finish it off, but they want to get as many points as they can right now. Oh, a nice nade from Shiv is going to slow down Unity's push. Knocks 2 of them.
Reciprocity was currently 2nd place going into this game, and they are making a big stand here in game number 4 of day 1. Trying to spot out Unity. Good spray from Shiv. Able to find the headshot connection with the M416. Takes one down, and with already Orange Snow bleeding out and Recreant going down as well, what can Tizerin do? A 4-man squad obliterated down to just 1 alive.
And he knows who the last Unity player is as well because he spotted him before he got that flick headshot. Shiv is basically making an entire clinic. He already has 7 kills, 9 for Reciprocity. Going back over to Northern Lights, the Quizzy gets taken down by Simzy. And that's going to be just Deep left. Able to get inside the previous circle, but phase 8 hard shifted northeast. It gives a little bit of reprieve for Unity, but Shiv and Raffy still inside the circle, still overlooking the push across this upward latitude field, essentially, that Besh having to push up.
Yeah, they're certainly going to have a tough time. Able to at least get one of the frags onto Northern Lights was a good window of opportunity, but they're going to need a little bit something more, specifically towards the northern side, specifically towards Georgia Bull Hill, where Shiv knows that Tizerin is still going to be remaining for Unity. Tries to take one shot as he sees his head pop over the horizon, but now retreats back down to the safety of his teammate to hold on to the western side of phase number 8. The ultimate collapse will be coming here in about 1 minute's time. 50 seconds for the blue zone, then 10 seconds for the zone to collapse as Northern Lights gets spotted. Able to get one knock onto Tomil, but Ultra's there with the SLR to wipe out Northern Lights in 5th place.
A really good refrag by Beşiktaş, but they are going to have to get the revive, and the blue is already coming in. They don't have a really good, strong position. They have a man advantage, and they already have 11 kills. But it's going to be rough for them. They're going to have to basically capitalize mistakes by the other players. I say that Simzy is dangerously close to Reciprocity, able to sneak up there, and the crate comes down on top of them as well. So they actually have a lot of resources on their way. It's basically all but terrain that they have going for them.
And that's kind of the thing. We've seen Beşiktaş, every time they take a peek towards Reciprocity, they're putting out damage. They're finding the connections, and this is keeping Reciprocity at bay, at least for the meantime. Beşiktaş, 11 kills to their name. They also spotted out Tizerin from Unity, and they were able to at least land some connections onto that as phase 9 pops. The ultimate collapse is going to be happening in 5 seconds, and now Beşiktaş, who was riding the edge of the zone, will have to at least advance their position. Raffy holding the angle with the M416, no helmet, a one-tap dirt nap.
I don't know if he's heard Simsy or not. I want to assume that he did, but he also just knows that Beşiktaş is at this angle. And so he's holding it out, trying to defend his teammate Shiv.
Footsteps definitely being heard by Simsy, though, relaying this information. Luck's going to be pre-firing the angles atop the hillside, trying to find the head of one of the Rec Pack members as they continue to at least maneuver around the southwestern side of this circle. Quickmath's Enzalenzo works his way in off of the east, still holding on to the edge. Again, 4 teams remaining. Rafi able to find the quicker spray onto Simsy and finds the flush. One going down for Beşiktaş as Rafi is going to be traded back out, but Shiv finds Lux. It's going to be a 1-for-1. At least he, as this engagement rages forward, trying to find even more onto Ultra, will be Shiv with the M416, the remaining player of Reciprocity on their feet, playing this aggressively, and is going to be able to find the team elimination onto Beşiktaş. Out in 4th place they go. 3 teams alive, solo players.
Can Shiv even get the revive onto Rafi? No, Rafi bleeds out in time, but he's going to go over and pick up the utility, pick up the equipment before he continues in this fight. He already has 9 kills, and he wants more. He's got enough meds. He doesn't have cover right now. He needs to find that first. It's 1v1v1. These are some of the most tense situations you can find yourself in, especially if you're a player like Shiv who just won a fight. You have given sound information that you don't have in return, but now he gets it back.
Oh, and boy, does he get it. Tizerin takes a lot of damage trying to drop off the hillside. I believe spotted out by Enzalenzo as well. Is at least able to recover some HP, but not a ton because he has 0 first aids, only 1 bandage, and no boost. Shiv continues to hold on to this. As far as utility goes, you have to think that he definitely has the advantage over both remaining solo players for both Unity and Quickmath. Unity, 0 first aids, 0 bandages, hardly any boost, just trying to recover whatever HP they can before having to take this fight, not peeking his head over just yet. Tizerin out he goes, spotted by Enzalenzo. A 1v1 scenario between Quickmath and Reciprocity, who looks to take down a chicken dinner, but they're not going to be able to do so. The spray comes in from Enzalenzo, and Quickmath take down the 4th game of day number 1.
But here's the thing, Quickmath only had 3 kills. They may have found the advantage on top of Shiv, but I'm going to call this one a Reciprocity win. They played that amazingly, specifically Shiv. Absolutely bonkers. He basically 1v3. Well, no, him and Rafi actually both. You're right. He got the final kill on the Beşiktaş. I don't want to take this from Rafi. Rafi had a very good opening shot onto that as well. Just that duo played that entire second half of the game. A very good performance.
I mean, listen, you just saw the faces of Reciprocity. Even though they had such a good game, they looked devastated that they weren't able to pick up that chicken dinner in that 1v1 scenario. But again, Cameron, like you mentioned, what a good game coming out from the Rec Pack. They have to be happy with the points they continue to put up. And again, coming into this game, 2nd on the leaderboards, that's a hell of a performance.
So Reciprocity, they're a team that, I mean, I have to say, historically has not lived up to expectations. They were expected to be in the PEL in phase, like the earlier phases, phase 1 and 2. They're in contenders. They won contenders, to be fair, and that's what gave them the opportunity to advance in PEL, but then ended up in the bottom 4th. But they are finally coming alive, and they actually came alive in the end of PEL. We consistently talked about in PEL about how it was the early weeks of Reciprocity that put them in such a deficit that they weren't able to climb out of it. But their final week, they got average of 8 points a game. That is almost half their total of like just under 5.
Yeah, I mean, Reciprocity came back huge. They shifted off of the first abysmal 2 weeks of PEL, came back swinging, but still found themselves in relegation. Those 2 weeks were so rough for both Vitality and Reciprocity. Neither was able to fully recover, even with that 8-point per game average, which is insane for PEL.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But the cynic in me still asks the question, are they going to be able to keep that form up? Because we have seen this team have expectations, fail to deliver, then climb back up, but then fail to deliver again. And it seems like there is no ramp-up speed required at all. They are performing out of their minds basically consistently. It wasn't the best first game, but like on overall, today is amazing for them. And we still have 1 more game.
We still do. But again, got to give props over to Quickmath for coming away with that chicken dinner. That 1v1 by Enzalenzo was not an easy task whatsoever. The fact that he was able to work his way off of that eastern edge, Cameron, when they were fighting against the Ferrari Breachers as well as multiple other teams.
And Unity.
It
was a lot of
action. Was even looking that way as well for quite a time. So the fact that Quickmath was able to make it all the way into that first place position, absolutely insane. Got to give them props for that chicken dinner.
Yeah, a good 10 points for them. But I say this whenever I see a team win with low kill count, that those are unreliable points in there. So I want to see Quickmath roll off of that. But let's go talk to them anyway and see how they feel after that last game.